Hi everyone, and welcome to our event today, Eating Disorders. Oh, I need to put my teeth in, Kel. That's not a very smooth introduction, is it? No. Well, hi Kel, it's great to have you back at Online Events.
Hi, John.
We wanted to do something together at the beginning of this week because it is Eating Disorder Awareness Week.
Yes, definitely a slight aside to the rest of your day today with the couples counselling.
Yes, so we're taking a break for an hour from the
Little
couples
detour.
conference. A little detour, yes, to a really important area, I guess. So, yeah,
At least I think so.
Yes. Well, I agree too, and I think everyone who's joining us live does as well. So, thank you everyone for being live on the site with us. Kel, you can see the chat room, and you're up for
I can.
questions and comments, and
Yes.
yeah, fantastic. And if you're struggling to get in the chat room, Sandra's in there, so give Saz a shout and she can help you with the technology. And some people are finding that the stream next to the chat room is buffering a little bit.
Okay.
So Sandra's put a little link just below the video. If you click on that, there's a backup video you can watch. And I think that's been a little bit more settled. The only thing is you need to switch back and forward for the chat room. So. But of course, if your video is jammed, you're not going to hear any of that, are you? So Sandra will put some of that in the chat room as well, I'm sure. So, Kel, you've done a few events with us now.
I have.
Yes. Maybe you could update us on what you're up to and what you're doing. Yeah.
I would say the biggest change since last time we did an event together is that I'm now offering supervision, which purely came out of my practice and more so my workshops. The more workshops I've been delivering in eating disorders, the more people have said, I've got a client, can I talk to you? So I'm offering supervision in a few different ways. I'm offering sort of traditional counselling supervision, if you like, but I'm also offering one-off or short-term supervision for somebody if they have a client or a couple of clients with eating disorders and they want some direct input related to that. And I'm doing that both face-to-face and online as well.
Fantastic. Oh, it's great to know that because I guess clients can come to us in their practice and it emerges that they are struggling with an eating disorder, I guess, and to get some specialist supervision around that is really helpful. Yeah.
And I think I experience with other people I work with so much anxiety for other counsellors about the risk associated with working with clients with eating disorders that sometimes it's just good to have somebody go, really, it's okay, or no, now's the time to panic, which occasionally happens as well.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate that it feels like a massive responsibility, especially if it's not a topic you feel you know very well. And the only reassurance I have is in the backdrop of people that I know that work in the area that I can call on if I need assistance, and that I have more experience than most people of this client group. So if I didn't have that, I'm sure I'd be terrified most days when I went to work.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I like how you put that. There is a time to panic, or I guess burst into action. So there is that time. But of course, we might find ourselves as practitioners panicking at the wrong time, and that can be really unhelpful for clients as well.
Yes. I would say most of the counsellors that I talk to are worried when actually they're doing absolutely fine, and they just need somebody to say what you're doing is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Or they may want to say, is this normal for this client group, or tell me a bit more information about that. And the information is out there, you can find the information, but sometimes just to have a calming voice, and hopefully my voice usually is quite calm, to say, okay, this is how it is, or you're fine, or I've got no idea, go and ask your client.
Yes, sometimes that is the result in supervision. Well, how many times my supervisor said to me, John, did you speak to your client about that?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Back to the client and say, right, let's have the conversation. And of course, there are some things about working with clients who are struggling with an eating disorder that we don't know unless we learn, I guess. And like like a lot of areas that are specialist or specific, I guess, there's some things that are really useful to know. And so to get that kind of specialist supervision, I'm sure is really helpful. But of course, you do training and you're in private practice. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, everything is plodding along. I spend a couple of days a week seeing clients, and then in addition to that now supervisees, and then I spend the rest of my time, for the most part, organising, planning and delivering training. And I think probably since last time we spoke, I've also started the blog, which is mentalhealthbites.com, which came out of, during the workshops, it came apparent to me that I was giving people a certificate with my name on, which is quite terrifying in and of itself. But that eating disorder is an area that's changing all the time. So in all reality, by the time somebody's walked out of the door, something quite significant could have changed. And I wanted a way to keep people informed about that sort of thing, which originally led to us creating a newsletter, which when 100 people had been on my training was fine. But by this point, we have a database of over 15,000 people, and that's just unrealistic. So I figured that the next best thing was to have the blog, and actually that gives a bit more of a platform for conversation about it as well, because before the only conversation was between me and somebody of the email to ask a question about something, whereas now, because it's in a more public domain, hopefully that will encourage people to begin to talk amongst themselves as well.
Yes, yeah. So people can have the conversation with each other, maybe even on the blog. I guess there might be a capacity for that as well.
Yes, so, there's the comment section is fully open. I just have to approve it the first time somebody posts. So after that, people are free to have a discussion. And I would really encourage people to have a discussion. My opinion on eating disorders is not the gospel of eating disorders. So, I have no problem with people disagreeing or asking me to explain something differently. And I think that conversation can only be a good thing, that it's then out there and other people can sort of land on it and go, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So encourage people, get on your website, visit the blog, join your mailing list, so people can be reminded of when there's a new blog post available. And
and in terms of training, we're just now later than usual. It's usually done in January, but we've just been so busy. We're scheduling the training events for the summer of this year. So usually we begin in about April and we go through till the end of October, the start of November. So we're just about to schedule those events for this year. And by this point, events are being run based on where people tell me that they would like events to be. So if anybody's watching thinking, you've not come to somewhere obscure, if I don't know that you're somewhere obscure, then I'm not going to come.
Yeah. So get in touch, say, come do an event, maybe with, you would go and work with an organisation, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Most of our work now is coming through organisations booking us or networking groups collectively booking me together. And if I know that for sure there's a collective group of people I can go to, rather than having to market and advertise and put hundreds of man hours into the behind the scenes stuff, it's even more cost effective than me trying my very best to offer the training as cheap as I can anyway. So that's better for everybody. It's less running around like a headless chicken for me, and it's cheaper for everybody else.